scales of war. Prologue. Chapter 4. The sound of heavy artillery had me up and moving instantly. I leaped out of bed, hastily pulling on my pants. My wife stirred, sitting up and rubbing sleep from her eyes. Though she couldn't hear the distant roar of the machines yet, my sudden movement startled her awake.
"What is happening?"
She asked just as an explosion shook the house, confirming our worst fears. Whatever artillery they had shot had missed the house, but barely. The sound had my wife on full alert.
"Go. I'll get Finn and Olivia to the safe room."
I didn't linger and leaped out the closed window, shattering it. I landed hard on my feet, knees bent, shards of glass raining down in my wake, scattering in the soft grass. I rose, heart pounding, and pushed forward. Each step carried purpose as I charged toward the danger threatening my family, branches cracking against me, leaves and splinters flying into the air. I used my power to feel through the earth and found what I needed. Ancient, powerful rocks from deep beneath the earth, hardened through millions of years of pressure. I commanded them to rise in front of the house, to stand as a tall wall and a protective shield against artillery fire. They had attacked prematurely, and I would make sure they suffered for it. I slowed my pace near the forest's edge, forcing calm into my movements, not wanting to show them any desperation. I could easily have entered the fight in my true form, destroying everyone in seconds from above or even using the earth to crush them all the way from the house. But doing so could be mistaken as them forcing me into that form or even straining myself. No. It was best to end this battle showing as little effort as possible and thereby getting a decisive victory. I would show them how little they threatened me, how little they mattered. Slowly, stepping into the open, I let the morning light warm my face, surveying the field. And then I saw them. 6 sleek, white tanks, covered in the same high-tech camouflage as the 12 soldiers who were in front of them. They were all still advancing toward me, precise and unwavering. I smiled. 6 tanks and twice as many soldiers. It was suicide. Then again, what number would it be? They could have marched their entire army here, and the outcome wouldn't have changed, not even the slightest. The soldiers halted, and I continued walking slowly into the field, the tall grass brushing the tips of my fingers. One of the soldiers held up his own hand, then quickly threw it out toward me, yelling,
"Fire!"
Every single tank and soldier began to fire at my position. I stopped moving and could not keep the smile from my lips when the first red blast hit. Heat seared away at my clothes at the impacts, but the skin beneath was completely untouched. The sheer heat from their weapons attack was extreme, easily capable of vaporizing an ordinary foe. Sadly for them, I was no ordinary foe. The blasts that missed me turned out to be more of a nuisance than the ones that hit me. Each impact on the ground erupted into thick plumes of dust and smoke that obscured my vision. The barrage continued, relentless and thunderous as the tanks joined in. But I didn't flinch. I planted myself firmly and sent my senses through the ground. Through the trembling soil and dirt, I felt each soldier's precise position laid out before me like markers on a map. They stood in formation ahead of me, unaware I could see them without my eyes. So I waited. The shooting lessened, then subsided. Silence crept in, broken only by the crunching boots of the soldiers slowly advancing. With the visibility of me gone, thanks to their relentless firing, they couldn't see if I was still standing. But I could feel them, especially the one directly ahead. Every step he took vibrated through the ground, a slow, cautious advance, one bootfall at a time. I waited. Let him come. Let the smoke do the work. He crept closer, closer still until he was too close. Then I struck. Shooting out of the smoke, I closed the distance between me and the soldier faster than anyone could react. I grabbed his rifle and placed a kick to his chest. I felt the armored suit crumble beneath my foot while the soldier was sent flying backwards. He landed in the field, dead. I spun, tossing the rifle in the direction of another. The rifle struck the other soldier in the chest and shattered both chest armor and rifle on impact, killing the man. The other soldiers finally jolted into action again, seeming to regain their awareness after the shock of my ambush, but it was too late. I was already sprinting toward my next target, the nearest tank. It began to reverse, but movement came a second too slow. I reached it in a blur and drove my palm upward beneath the front of it. The impact lifted the tank clean off the ground, nearly flipping it backwards. As it tipped, I stepped beneath the falling machine, caught it, and hoisted it overhead like it weighed nothing. With a single heave, I hurled it into the air and it came crashing down on another with the deafening crunch of metal. A fireball erupted into the sky, engulfing both in flames. The remaining 4 tanks were now in full retreat, engines screaming as they tore backwards, desperate to escape. I smiled. None of them would leave this battlefield alive. I had dispatched their entire fire team within minutes of the fight beginning, leaving only 1 soldier alive. I grabbed him by the throat, lifting him up in a straight arm. Even with me holding back, the battle had been an easy victory. The burning and torn remained scattered on the field from what were once tanks, a testament to the power I wielded. Broken bodies with shattered armor lay spread in the once tall grass, now trampled and with big charred spots. The soldier in my hand was desperately fighting to free himself, thrashing and clawing at my arm.
"Please, I'll do anything,"
he said, struggling for air. I smiled, but it vanished when a voice rang out behind me.
"I did not expect you to waste quite so much time."
I quickly snapped the soldier's neck and tossed him away, like a child would an unwanted toy. I turned to find Solomon standing a few steps away, calm and collected. I had not heard him come, and I had not sensed him in the battle either. Solomon stood in front of me in the same black suit as he had worn the first time, with no weapon in sight. "You told me midday. Breaking a promise like that could cause problems, and in your case it could lead to an unfortunate lowering in life expectancy." I gave him a predatory smile and took a step closer. He casually turned his full attention to me as if I had just asked him about the weather.
"Always so eager for a fight, and yet you are completely out of time."
He struck me in the chest, and the force sent me falling backwards. I hit the ground hard and used the momentum of the fall to roll, ending in a crouch position. I dug my hands into the ground, readying myself to splatter him. I would strike him with so much force, it would leave nothing but blood rain and small pieces of him, barely enough to bury. The force behind Solomon's blow had surprised me. Had I expected the power behind the blow, it wouldn't have moved me an inch. Solomon had exerted more power than any human should be capable of, enhancements or not. Although in a fight between him and me, all his preternatural strength would mean little for the outcome. He was still much weaker than me.
"Whatever you are planning, I would not if I were you."
His accent had changed between one sentence and another. I slowly stood up, never taking my eyes off him. The suit, still in immaculate condition, blew gently in the wind with the few patches of untrampled grass. "You're African." He glanced up and down at himself, mockingly referring to his darker skin tone.
"Obviously,"
he answered, his voice calm and laced with quiet superiority. "Central Africa?" I asked, not really caring for the answer. If I could get him talking, maybe I could figure out what all this was about. With the sudden broken promise and attack on my family, I doubted very much this was a plan to make me join him.
"Sudan. Do not think Central Africa was the only country to suffer from your tantrum. Their neighbors suffered as well. Perhaps even more. They had loved ones left to mourn them."
Solomon growled, his jaw clenched so tightly it looked like it might crack. He took a long, deep breath, anchoring himself once more.
Best not to get carried away with such emotions. I do apologize.
So, you aren't here to win a war, but rather for some failed, ignorant attempt at retribution or vengeance. My taunting seemed to have fallen on deaf ears, because Solomon merely smiled. I did not like it one bit.
Retribution or vengeance, in truth, it does not matter which. I will win against every enemy, you and the rest. And all I must do is play the hand that I've been dealt.
Solomon's watch beeped twice, and his smile widened.
And thus, I must say, check.
I clenched my fist in anger. He was completely mad. There was no way he could win. No weapon he could deploy would be able to kill me. My power was greater than anything Solomon could hope to wield. I am not sure you realize what is happening around you. I destroyed your tanks and slaughtered your men, all without ever breaking a sweat. I held my hands out, indicating our surroundings, the empty battlefield. Solomon scanned the field once. Some of the tank parts were still smoking with toxic black plumes slowly rising into the air.
What would...
Solomon stopped and tapped a finger on his chin in mock thinking.
What was her name again? Ah, yes, Sarah. What would Sarah think of this?
He mirrored my movement from before, indicating the destruction. My eyes glowed with a burning hatred, and the earth shook with my fury. Be careful how you speak of my wife, or your friends will not be able to identify what I leave behind. I growled. I felt my true form fighting to get free, every part of me eager to kill Solomon.
Funny how you called Sarah your wife. I would never think to marry an insect.
He said, smiling at me. My rage made me take a step closer and have my hands turn into dragon claws. I would tear him to pieces and leave little for the crows to pick at. He held up a hand, stopping my advance.
You are already late. 2 of your family members are already in my custody. You hurt me, and 1 will die. You kill me, and both will die.
Liar. My voice came as a deep rumble. I would enjoy killing him for that alone.
Soon we will have your daughter as well.
My fury reached its limits together with my worry. With a roar of rage, I unfurled my wings and exploded into my true form. With my powerful wings, I was upon the house in mere seconds, commanding the protective wall to collapse as I dove through. Shards of rock hammered against my obsidian scales like hail. When my feet touched the veranda, I turned into my human form and kept moving with the momentum of my dive. I reached for the door handle while still in motion, but before I could turn it, I barreled straight through the door. It splintered, sending wooden pieces flying through the air. The soldier whose back was to the door had barely turned before I struck him, decapitating him with a single blow to his head. I jumped over the still-falling body just in time for another soldier to step in my path. I slammed both my hands into the new soldier. The blow had him flying through the wall behind him. They had come into my home, and now they would all die. I heard the sound of shattering glass and moving furniture, and it had me quickly moving up the stairs to the bedroom. Stepping into the room, I was greeted by the visage of 2 more soldiers rummaging through all our belongings, clothes scattered all over the room, and the picture from the bedside table lying face down on the floor with broken glass surrounding it. They both looked up at me, and I let loose a thunderous growl. The first soldier had just enough time to pull out his baton in a desperate attempt to stop me. I was much faster than both of them, grabbing his wrist and snapping his arm before I ripped out his throat. I felt the electrified baton from the other soldier strike my neck. The baton's electrical current was powerful, maybe even lethal, at least to a weak creature like these people. I let go of the first soldier, and he fell to the ground, lifeless. Slowly turning to the last one around, he lifted the baton to strike me again. I smiled, and he struck. Before the hit connected, I punched him in the chest. The force made him drop the baton and stagger backwards, and I slowly followed him. You must have known they sent you here to die. I spoke as he tried attacking me once again, this time going after the gun strapped to his own side. Grabbing his hand, I crushed both hand and gun. The soldier let out a scream of pain. Silencing him by grabbing his throat, I pulled him in close. Tell them I'll be right out. I whispered in his ear and threw him out the already shattered window. With the immediate danger eliminated, I took a deep breath and hurried to the closet. Pulling up the floor panel, I was met by Olivia's terrified blue eyes, staring up at me from the shadows.
Nilo took Mom and Finn, and they tried to get me, but I ran and hid and left them all alone.
She yelled in panic, barely breathing as she did, making her hard to understand. But I understood just enough of it. The only remaining question was, who should I kill first, Solomon or Nilo? Shh. You did the right thing in hiding. Stay here. I will come back for you. There's something I have to do first, though, I said, and looked over my shoulder and out of the broken window. Leaving Olivia safe for the moment, I stepped into the backyard. The morning sun painted the grass orange, and there stood Nilo, flanked by soldiers in a helicopter. I clenched my fist in anger, my nails digging into the palm of my hand hard. The battle in front had been a distraction, a trap, and I jumped in with both feet. You are either very brave or very stupid for staying here after your betrayal, Nilo. I yelled loud and clear, and the earth rumbled in emphasis. Nilo just smiled at me and held out a phone.
It's for you,
was all he said. I made my way across the grass and took the phone from his hand. Speak, I commanded whoever was on the other side.
You must have learned the truth then. As I said before, we have Sarah and Finn in our custody. The rules are as follows. Attack Nilo or try to free them. One will die. I don't particularly care which one. You have 1 month to comply with our orders, either by pledging your loyalty to any of our military bases or destroying our enemies. The choice is yours. If you fail to comply within a month, one will die. If you fail to comply a second month, we will kill the last one. Have I made myself clear, or do you wish for me to repeat myself?
Solomon's voice spoke over the phone. He seemed calm and collected, and I hated him for it. I was looking forward to tearing him into bloody ribbons. I understand perfectly. I answered, mirroring his calm, and returned the phone to Nilo. The instant his fingers closed around it, I struck, my clawed hand moving faster than anyone could follow. I sliced the throat of the closest soldier on the right, grabbed his rifle, spun around, and threw the rifle at the soldier furthest to the left. The rifle hit the soldier's head, snapping it backwards at an awkward angle, breaking the neck. I then kicked and broke the knee of the last soldier to the right, forcing him to kneel. Seizing the soldier with the broken knee by the collar, I hurled him into the chest of the last living soldier on the left, breaking the neck of the hurled soldier, and with the force of the impact, stopping the other soldier's heart. Nilo's eyes went wide at the carnage, and I stepped up close to him. Once again, he seemed so small before me. You might have won the battle, but you have no idea what is coming for you. I let my eyes flash their ember glow in emphasis. Nilo turned silently and strode to the helicopter, which lifted off into the sky. With the threat gone, I exhaled sharply and rushed back inside, finding Olivia trembling in her hiding place. She flung her arms around me, holding me tight, and started crying.
They have Mom and Finn.
She cried, shaking with fear. Don't worry, my daughter, I said, hugging her back. I had given them the greatest gift of all, those pathetic humans. 5 years ago, Sarah had convinced me not to make them bear the full weight of my vengeance or my wrath, and their thanks was this. They would regret it.
What do we do?
She asked through heaving breaths. I think it's about time for a true family reunion, I said and held her tight.